guys, it's
Hello.
me, Scarlett.
And it's me, Mim.
Welcome back to Style Over Substance. We have another guest episode for you guys today, and I think it's a really enjoyable one. Our guest this week is Cassie Thorpe. She is a luxury and fashion focused YouTuber, Instagrammer, influencer, content creator, whatever you want to say. She's bubbly. She loves her luxury fashion. We hear her lovely Hermes purchase. We talk about fashion internships. It was a really fun conversation, and I think it's also really cool for people to hear that the YouTube space isn't full. Like, you can start whenever, and as like we've both said it before, haven't we, that like we love YouTube so much, and like we're always like, should we do that? Because I really enjoy it and that could be fun. And it's that thing of like, well, if you start today, then you're waiting less time to start your YouTube journey. And I think she's a really great person to follow on YouTube, and we hope you like her chats with us.
Cool. So, Cassie, tell us a bit about you and what you do, because I came across your YouTube channel, which is growing quite a lot in like a short amount of time, because you haven't been doing this full time for very long.
No, so as of the 1st of January, I am now full-time YouTuber, but I wasn't. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Very exciting. No, the majority of people like still don't understand it, and they're like, wait, like how do you survive and pay your bills? And it's like, so I have to go through that with the majority of people, but it's really exciting. I was on YouTube. I don't really know, maybe like 2.5, 3 years that I was like, okay, I want to take this seriously. I really like it, and I could see myself doing this full time kind of thing. But before that, I mean, I've always loved luxury fashion and grew up reading Vogue and all of that business. So it was like, okay, well, I'm either going to go into fashion or I'm going to go and do something kind of economicsy, because that was like my what I was going to do at school kind of thing. And then in uni, I did a fashion internship and quit via text about 2 weeks in because it was the worst. And I was like, okay, I am not working in fashion in this capacity.
I love it.
This is Scarlett's favorite topic. It's internship in the fashion industry. Literally, she could spend all day talking about this.
They are rough. Oh my gosh. I mean,
we'll come back to the internship.
Yes. But so I started doing a fashion blog. It was awful. I've deleted all remnants of it off the internet, because if you want to talk about embarrassing. And then actually shortly after my boyfriend and I got together, he was like, oh, well, maybe you should try like doing videos, because I think that your personality will come across easier that way. And then that's kind of how it started. And I fell in love with the whole process and everything.
Cool.
And did you have any hesitation to put yourself sort of out there in a space that's already, like YouTube, the people who are huge on YouTube, like started before it was a thing, before you could make money. So is there like a hesitation of like, well, I know if this takes off, like it actually could be really good.
To be honest, like I think a lot of people when they start, it's, nobody really like thinks of that bit. Everybody's just like, oh my gosh, me like, being on camera and people seeing it and stuff like that. Yeah. Which for some reason that part never really got to me. And I don't know if it's just like I did like, my mum put me in all of this like speech and drama when I was younger and all of that business. So that bit was out. And I'm an only child, so I'm very used to creating my own entertainment. So talking to a camera was just like, well, I'm talking to myself anyway most of the time, so what's the difference? But yeah, it was more of just kind of like, you know how you said the people that have really made a name for themselves and been on it for ages, but it's like, well, then I better start now rather than coming up with excuses. So
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I just think as well, it's like especially with content and things like that, it's very much about like anyone can do it, and it's not like, I mean, I know that a lot of like Instagram and everything is very oversaturated, but I still think that there's a home for people, because it's all about you as a person and how people relate to you, right? And I think that a lot of people see what other people are doing and are like, okay, well, I need to do something like that, when people already have that. So what can you do to bring that, something different to the table, or talk about something in a different way, Yeah,
for sure. I think that brings up like two separate points to me. Like if you take the YouTube example but put it in a different context, like TV stuff that was like banging back in the day that we used to watch as kids, that was huge. We don't watch that anymore. Like everyone moves on. So those bigger YouTubers who deal with like luxury fashion, they're at a completely different stage in their life, and they're getting like invites to Louis Vuitton's like latest fashion show, and so there's like a disconnect between
you can't relate to them the way you used to.
Exactly. And also when you said that people feel like they have to replicate this formula that's already been successful, I know this is so weird and I always come up with weird parallels, but Homes Under the Hammer.
Yes.
Where are we going here?
Okay, Mo Gilligan, Mo the comedian.
Yes.
Really funny like series, and it's called Homes Under the Hammer Time on YouTube, and he does like reaction videos to like Homes Under the Hammer. Anyway, this morning I was watching it, and did you know it's been running for like 17 years? Exactly. And people still love it. People still watch it. My dad still loves it. And it's like, you can be like really popular in your tiny little niche, and you can be big in that area. And that's all you need really to survive on these platforms. You don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to be the James Charleses of the world. You can be like, in your little niche, and it's a big deal.
Yeah. No, I really, really like how you've put that, because when I kind of started, right at the beginning, there was a lot of floundering about and like, I like beauty products, but I really have no idea what I'm talking about kind of thing. So I think like I did like a Get Ready With Me or something, and it was just an absolute disaster because I don't know, what anything to do with that. I've just been following tutorials myself, right? So when it really came down to, okay, what do I know about? What do people like in my life come to me for advice on or talk to me about because they think that, Cassie will know the answer on that topic? And it's always been luxury fashion. So I was like, okay, well, this is how, I'm going to start. And I think that it's amazing to kind of, and by no means am I saying that I'm like the person in luxury fashion, because I am not, but it's amazing that just like when somebody thinks of, I want to know a little bit more about this bag, or what's new and hot in luxury fashion. Let me go check on Cassie's channel, for example, kind of thing. And that's really amazing. Exactly. I think a lot of, like James Charles or something, it's so much about beauty, but it's also a lot more about his life. And I think that a lot of people do diversify when they get to a certain point, because a lot of their brands want to know about the ins and outs of their lives kind of thing. But then I also think that can get a little bit, I think you have to manage the balance of that very well, because right at the beginning, when you made this decision, you maybe didn't sign up to show that much, but it's just because of how things have played out. You're like, okay, well, people want to see more of me. How much am I comfortable showing? And it's not going to burn me out as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. Before we proceed, we have to hear about, why was your internship so bad? We don't need to hear brand names. A bad job, I've done it. I tell you, like,
it was
so.
I honestly, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect going in. I went on like fashionjobs.com or whatever that website is, you know, the one we all know. And it was like, oh, London fashion internship to do with Fashion Week. And I was like, oh, this is it. Like, that sounds amazing. Went for the interview, got it. It was for a PR role. And so they basically wanted me to put on their entire Fashion Week show for zero budget. And not getting paid, because that's not a privilege that happens
in fashion.
Exactly. And nobody also told me like when to go home. So I would just be like clicking on this computer like, okay, well, these are a load of suppliers that I can call tomorrow and scrounge their services for free until like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh, I wonder when the last train home is. Like, you know, you don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
And so it was just things like that were an absolute nightmare. So it just came to a point where I was just like, my gosh, I'm in like second year of uni. I didn't think I was going to have to be, you know, calling up and scrounging free things from people, trying to, you know, what's it called, sell this brand and everything. I was like, oh, will you give us 100 bottles of Vita Coco for the Fashion Week and all this business? I was like, I can't be dealing with this anymore. While like the one of the like people that owned the brand was just like on the phone getting like custom made pieces for her child sorting out, and I was just like, shouldn't I not be helping? I don't know, like I don't know what I'm doing here.
I think that's like a hard lesson so many people have to learn, is that there's nothing glamorous about working in fashion, especially in like until you own the brand, until you're like the CEO or whatever it is, then maybe it's a bit more glamorous and you kind of don't do the graft. But it's like one of my favorite things to talk about. And you're so true, like it's especially with an internship, there's this real aura of you really just lucky to be here and experiencing this. And so like, how dare you ask when you can go home? Like, but you're not even paying me in the first place, but I'm not allowed to ask if I can go home at 10 o'clock at night because I need to get the last train home. But I'll be back in at 8 o'clock tomorrow, don't worry. Like, it's actually madness. So
it's crazy. And some of the stories...
I'm sorry you had that experience, but I'm also really pleased.
No, it's... I mean, I got a story out of it, and it you know, made me know that, this isn't how, you know, you want to be involved in the fashion industry.
You want to be able to own it. You want to be able to own fashion.
Yeah. I think that's like now, I don't know, I'm completely speculating, but I would have thought that like a lot of young people who are maybe at uni or leaving or whatever, that sort of age, can completely bypass these internships now, because if you want to be a stylist, you can just style stuff yourself. If you want to be
show them your Instagram page, like, you know.
And it's like your portfolio, but then you can also kind of realise that maybe you can make money from it. And I mean, there was a few years back, Scarlett and I have talked about it, but there was like a bit of an uproar about unpaid internships. And I think that shifted the conversation of paying people.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to sort of luxury and how you got into it and admired it, what was your first luxury purchase and kind of why? What made that item like the thing you wanted to invest your money in first?
Okay, so my first so basically the whole kind of luxury thing came from my mum. She's very like into it and always like, I'd grown up with her being like, you know, save your money, and instead of getting 5 t-shirts, go and buy 1 t-shirt that's going to last you forever and all of this business, right? So that's how it kind of always came in. But my first purchase of my own money was when I was on a paid internship, different industry.
Has to be.
And it was a pair of Givenchy slip-on like sneakers, like skate shoes looking things. And then the front of them had like crystals and embellishments and all of this. And I remember when we were told, all right, well, payday is on this day, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting these trainers for a while now, and they're just going to be amazing and all of this. And I would talk to other people on the internship about it, and they were like, that's how you're going to spend your paycheck. And I was like, yes, best believe I'm going to style these for work, so you're going to see these next week. Like, I was just like obsessed. I still have them. Some of the crystals on the top have fallen off, sadly, but I can't get rid of them because that was like my first
sentimental.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so funny because at the moment I have my eye on a couple things that I'm like, I'd really like to buy that, because I might have the chance this year to get something a bit fancier. But when it comes down to it, sometimes I think to myself, and bearing in mind, like I've worked in luxury fashion and we talk about fashion every week, so like we're obviously into that sort of thing. But I'm like, I don't know if I can part with that amount of money, like, and actually take the step and buy it, because sometimes it is like, it's so easy to get desensitized. What are like
100%.
What are your tips to like buying luxury and being able to afford it when you're just like working average Joe?
Yeah, so basically, what I do is I like map out, I've got like an Excel spreadsheet. It sounds a little bit more it is nerdy.
It's excessive, yeah.
But it sounds like...
It sounds sensible, though.
all these, those equations going, and I haven't. It's very basic spreadsheet. But I will map out, like, okay, this is how much I'm going to get paid a month. And now with YouTube or whatever, I mean, it fluctuates, but I'll just, estimate, right? And I'll do that for the whole year. And then I'll be like, okay, when do I think is reasonable for me to be buying things, and what budget do I want to set for myself? Whether that is, okay, I'm allowed to buy one thing, let's say it's £1,000 and that's every quarter. And I will literally be like, okay, so how does that come out of what I'm earning and after rent and all of that business? So I will literally go down to like a granular level. But I completely get that sentiment of being desensitized to it. So recently I've got an amazing Dior sales associate, and he offered me this like
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Exactly. He was just like, pick out a load of stuff that you've been interested in to try on. I'll have it sent home, and then the courier will be back at 5 to pick up if there's anything that you don't, you can send it all back, whatever.
What a dangerous game.
I know.
Dangerous. But there were an amazing pair of shorts, right? These fabulous Dior oblique shorts, blah, blah, blah. They are £1,300, which I cannot for a pair of shorts. I simply can't, right? That to me, I'm not balling, like, I'm not at that level yet, right? Maybe in a couple of years, 1,300 for a pair of shorts will be like, oh, what is that? But absolutely not right now. And it was just like, and I know that there were like some people in the comments like, oh my gosh, you simply have to have these shorts and you cannot send those back. And it's like, if you're paying for it, fair enough. Yeah, all right, I'll
with
keep
whose
them.
money?
But, exactly.
Yeah.
But, like,
set up a GoFundMe and I'll keep them.
Exactly. But there's like I think you have to be really honest with yourself. And also with there being so many things, and I think that I kind of shoot myself in the foot with talking about luxury all the time, because I just see all of these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, the wish list is just getting longer and longer, because half the time I'm just looking into what's new. That you then have to be like, okay, so I would like to treat myself. These are the options, right? Which of these will I actually use the most? Which of these do I actually already have 4 of and I don't need another? And so on and so forth. Like, why am I buying a jumper when we're going into spring, summer? Like, stuff like that, that I just need to be super honest with myself and just being like, you know what? No, you don't need another. But you actually don't have anything like this other thing. And that's the one that's going to get my money, that kind of thing.
I was going to say, also with ready to wear, I always have a fear of like, what if I'm not the same size in a couple of years?
Yeah.
Or you know, like
a post-child body, post-lockdown body.
Yeah.
It's a great,
menopause. Like, if I'm buying 1,300 shorts, they best fit me when I'm 60. Like,
literally. Oh my gosh. No, it's true. And actually, so my mum recently lost a lot of weight. And the majority of her wardrobe now doesn't fit her.
She needs a good tailor. She needs a good tailor.
Yeah. So luckily for like those like crazy, like, you know, Chanel skirts and everything else, she's had them, you know, tailored and everything else. But for the other stuff that's harder to do and stuff like that, it's like, how do you make this work? You can't just, you know, it's such a waste otherwise. I mean, obviously you can resell and things like that, but reselling for ready to wear is like, it's all over the place. You know, you can buy something for $1,000 and somebody only wants it for 120, you know. So it's just, it is a dangerous game.
Yeah. And so what would you say is then, like, you're obviously more willing to sort of spend money on accessories. I think that's kind of what even just an average person is going to put their money in. It's not going to be maybe like coats, outerwear, accessories, shoes. But is there like a particular area that like is your weakness? Is it shoes?
I think it's going to have to be shoes, honestly. I've always been shoes, and then like last year I went hard on the bags for some reason, and I'm falling back in love with shoes. I don't know what it is. I have far too many, and I can't. And I look.
But we all do. We all do.
Honestly, and the thing is that you look through and you're like, all right, let's actually have a look at the ones that I haven't worn in a bit, or maybe I could get rid of whatever, right? And you look through and you'll be like, no, because that would be for this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like I literally have a pair of shoes. It's like, those are the ones that you're going to use when you end up in a Miami nightclub. I don't know when that's going to be, but those are my Miami nightclub shoes. This one is for summer, like a European summer break.
It's this like really specific scenario. Yeah. I have stuff where I'm like, oh no, when someone invites me to their wedding and the theme is light colours, I'm going to wear that jacket.
Yes.
But I have not been invited to a wedding yet, and I don't know when it's just like, I'm not going to get rid of it because the time will come.
Exactly. And I'm very much a just in case person. I'm going to be like, the day I get rid of that thing, the day after I will need it for something, or I will see somebody else with it and I'll be like, why did you do that to yourself?
Yeah. I've bought stuff and I've sold stuff and then kind of regretted it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think fashion and fantasy goes quite hand in hand, especially those pieces that like are maybe a bit more out there. Like you're not necessarily getting incorporated in your like work wardrobe or like everyday life. So there are those moments where you're like, that's for that like vision, like, you know, it's like a film TV show moment you're like imagining for yourself of like, that's when I go to a gala, you know, and like
when I get invited to the Met Gala,
but like, I'm gonna go to like a really like fancy soiree, like whatever it is. But also we talked quite a lot about sort of whether or not Sex and the City might bring back like us actually wearing clothes again, when that airs maybe later this year. I think it's meant to come out, and like ruin the athleisure moment we're all sort of loving, elasticated waistbands. But like I think there's something to be said of like not saving fashion for best. I think that's definitely something I want to do, like post COVID world, is actually be like, I might be the most overdressed person when I meet my friends, but like I'm wearing the things that I love and I'm not saving them for the Miami nightclub because
very true.
I haven't got that booked yet.
No, it's true. And I love that because that's what it should be all the time. And I just think that, you know, with lockdown, these absolutely like extreme situations that we've been in, that it's like almost like, no, we need this for a bit of like a fantasy, like you said, for a bit of fantasy, a little bit of fabulousness that needs injected back into our life, you know, a little bit of fun and you know, frivolousness that we really haven't been able to indulge very much in while we've been locked up at home, you know?
Yeah. And have you found that lockdown has like made you less inspired by clothes, or has it kind of like the way you're sort of coping or helping yourself feel great is like, you know what, that's a really great pair of shoes or bag that I look forward to wearing when this is gone, I'm going to get it. What's sort of been your flavor with clothing?
So I think it's very much, I actually, when like the lockdown season 1 came, and I went in and I was like, brilliant, gonna save money, not going anywhere, not seeing anyone, brilliant. Then somehow things would pop up and everything. And now it's kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, the looks I am ready to serve.
Yeah.
I've got them like stored in my head. I'm not actually going to lie. It's not in my head. I actually do write them down. It's very sad.
Is it a spreadsheet?
Not a spreadsheet, but I do have like a little notebook that's like, oh, that's a really good spring summer look.
Oh, I've done that before. Yeah,
I love it.
Get that one. It's very sad. But yes, I am like, come 12th of April, outdoor dining and shops open. Thank you very much. I'm showing up to show out. Be ready.
I love that. I think it's important, and like I think hopefully it's made us remember that like clothes are actually fun. Like fashion is fun. It's meant to be enjoyed. Yes. And I've definitely been victim of like being my own worst enemy of like, well, that doesn't suit you, or like you look really like daft actually wearing that, but then love it on other people. I'm like, but I don't care what people think anyway. So like, yeah, it might make me look a stone bigger than I am or a bit frumpy or whatever, but like, well, at least I know I'm not a stone heavier, or like, what does it matter if someone thinks that I'm a stone heavier, like, or that it's unflattering?
If you feel fabulous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time it's like you think, oh, it doesn't suit me because people aren't used to seeing it on you. But once they see things on you, they're like, oh yeah, that's something she'd wear. Or do you know what I mean? It's I
think if you're inspired to buy it, it must be in your personality. Like,
yeah,
very true.
So, what is on your current wish list then? We might as well ask.
Okay, so there is one piece. I have been talking about this for months now, but this tiny, tiny bag arrived on the Chanel runway for Spring Summer 21. It's about this big. It's pink. It's tiny. It's got a tiny top handle. It is everything I've ever wanted in the most minuscule form. Anyway, I know that all of the other colours have come out in the UK except for the pink. So I'm waiting for that one to come out. But that is like number one on my wish list. The other thing, I mean, that Dior shopping haul added a couple more items on my wish list. Not the shorts, because once again, cannot part with 1,300 for a pair of satin shorts. But a couple of items from there. What else? Oh, for some reason, again, something I've made up in my mind here, I saw this fabulous like silk Versace shirt with matching silk shorts. Oh, I was like, wow! For like wherever I end up on holiday.
That is the Miami.
That is Miami vibing too.
By the first.
I think that's what the conclusion that we've all come to today. I think that's where I'll be going on holiday, because that is like, is like, yeah, I need that top to toe look.
Amazing. Right. And what are your sort of favourite places to look for luxury fashion? Are you someone who shops like Vestiaire Collective? Like, are you a vintage finder? Do you enjoy that process? Or do you kind of, I don't know, what's your process?
So, I would say I am somebody that's like, I'm here for an easy life. So most of the time it's like Farfetch, My Teresa, Louisa Via Roma, Net-a-Porter, your usuals, right?
All in the same place, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Everything's on one place. Sometimes if I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if anything, if Fendi's come out with anything fun, then I'll go on Fendi's site directly and have a look. But generally, I kind of go on those because everything's in one place. And then it also allows me to oh, what's this fun thing by this designer I've never heard of, But just before Christmas, I really wanted to get myself the cropped Fendi puffer jacket for as a Christmas gift to me from me. Why not? And I could not find it anywhere. Absolutely no chance. And for some reason, I was like, you know what? Let me just check Vestiaire. Somebody might have one and it didn't work out for them or whatever. Brand new with tags. Literally the same price as it would have been in store. I was like, thank you very much. There we go. Great process, actually, shopping through Vestiaire. Because sometimes you think, oh my gosh, it's going to take 3 weeks to get here after it's all been authenticated and all of that. But no, it was really easy.
Yeah. Amazing. It was meant to be.
Exactly.
So you're not the biggest vintage secondhand shopper, I think you've said. That you prefer the in-store experience. And do you think that because you obviously very much curate, it sounds like you create a wardrobe and you create, this is the piece that I want, and you're very intentional with your shopping. Do you think that's kind of a reason why browsing past seasons or just shopping pre-loved is just kind of not for you?
I think that's actually part of it. I think the other thing is that it's not like I would never, or, what's it called? Have just ruled that out entirely. I think that I know that there's a vintage shop in Tokyo that I would absolutely die to go to because they've just nailed the in-store experience. And they just have all of these amazing 90s Chanel and all these, you see those runway pieces and you're like, oh my gosh, stunning. They've just done it amazingly. And I just think that we're lacking a little bit of that in England. I haven't really come across a dedicated luxury pre-loved, but you get that end-to-end luxury experience with it. I'm sure that they exist, it's just I just haven't found them or have stumbled into one yet, but I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And also if you're not your baller 1,300 on a short stage. But also, I think it's really important to have a positive or special experience when you're parting with quite a lot of money. Like we talked earlier about being desensitized a little. Luxury fashion, is a lot of money, and regular salaries don't if you're dropping that money, you've saved or you've reconsidered a purchase, and I think it is right to have a sort of special experience. So there's you're right, there's definitely a space for their almost a Vestiaire collective, in-store type of London experience or wherever it ends up being, because actually pre-loved and stuff like that is also just as expensive. Chanel bags retain their value. So yeah, I think it'd be nice that there's sort of, would you like a cup of tea, madam? And all of that, all of that going on, and making you feel
the bells and whistles.
Yeah. And actually, that's the only time you're allowed to call me madam.
It's true. And actually, I did go into. I went to New York the last Christmas before everything, went downhill. And I went to the Real Reels physical store.
Oh,
and that was done really well, really, really well. And it's just even down to things like when you buy a purchase to get, let's say it's a pair of shoes, you buy a purchase, you get a dust bag, right? And maybe even if it's a Vestiaire dust bag or whatever it is, just those little things, it's tied with a bow at the end. You've got all these, little guarantees in place and all of that. It really does enhance the experience. And that's what, exactly, it shouldn't be easy to, a shop like it is in Zara as it is in a Louis Vuitton or a Chanel or whatever. It should feel like a completely different experience because the budgets here are very different. You know, you can't expect me to come in here and, you know, walk around Louis Vuitton like it is Zara or whatever and just drop my money that freely, you know? So how are you going to differentiate that?
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, like, shopping for luxury shopping will be like once we're eventually, hopefully, set free? I know. I don't even believe, like, but
is that happening
ever? What do you see shops kind of doing? And do you think they're going to dedicate more time to service, or is it going to be quite like a sterile kind of transaction? Like, in my experience, I can understand why people are a bit hesitant to like go into these places and shop in these places. And even like when you go to Harrods, there's just so much going on. Although like the service might be there, it's just still overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
What do you think might happen?
You know what? I'm not sure. And I think a few months ago, I would have said that I would have expected that, yes, they're going to put a little bit more time in to the service side and really kind of enhancing that customer experience. But then I've kind of seen, you know, like photos from all over the world and shops opening up, and there are queues outside, like Louis Vuitton and Hermes and stuff like this, that I just feel like, to be honest, it's probably just going to go back to normal. And I think that, when it comes to the luxury shopping experience, I think it's so annoying, and it shouldn't be this way, that it's just like luck of the draw on the day. Like, you know, it really helps having a sales associate that you know and you go back to every time and everything else, because then you know that there's a friendly face every time you go there. But half the time it is just, oh my gosh, I hope I get landed with somebody that's polite and gives me a smile, other than just like looking me up and down and being like, we don't have it in, you know.
You can't
exactly. And it really shouldn't be that way. And I think that some brands have a better reputation in store than others. But I know.
You're right. Louis Vuitton's a bit of a conveyor belt. I know, but even when I've been in there just to want to look around and do research or all of that stuff, you get a number essentially. And like, well, they take your name down and then they'll sort of call you, and you've got to wait in the sort of like foyer of the store before you can kind of like be seen. And it's like, you're never going to get that sort of calm, take your time, like approach when there's just 50 people on the list after you. I know. Or like they tell you, sorry, it's an hour's wait until you can be seen. Like that kind of feels a bit frustrating, you know.
I've always thought that Louis Vuitton is a bit like, I don't know how to describe this, but it's a bit like, it's going to be so insulting. And it's not an insult on their style of bags. I just think they have a lot of styles of bags. They have a lot of stuff. Don't you think? I've always thought like, there's not like
they haven't consolidated their collection.
Yeah, they do everything in coated canvas, in every shape, in every size. And so I've not really gone into particularly busy like Louis Vuitton stores, so I haven't witnessed that firsthand. But I can imagine that it's like the Zara of really luxury fashion.
Yeah,
someone's gonna hate me.
Like you were saying with, they literally give you a number. It's like a luxury experience shouldn't be like standing at the deli meat counter in Tesco. You know, you're there 127, that's me. You know, it's just, and I don't know how they could make that better, purely because there's just, like you said, there's 50 people waiting. And it's insane that we live in a world where like people are waiting to drop money. Just take it. You know, it's crazy.
And you can't take the spontaneity out of shopping either. Like if you made it by appointment only, like if you're a tourist, and also then, you know, I get it where I'm sort of like, I'm gonna be reckless with money. Like you wanna like ride that wave. Like, and someone might suddenly be like, you know what? I see it in the window. I'm going to get it. It's a sign. Like, you don't want to stop that flow by having it like, sorry, madam, our next appointment is a week away. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough for sure.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how they can improve it, but like I've only ever, and exact, like it's going to be different on different days or whatever, but every time I've gone into Dior, it's always been smiles and a really nice experience. Fendi, it's always been smiles, a really nice experience. Chanel, it's like, well, buckle up, because they might not even ask you if you need any help today. Like,
they've got their roped queues out in Selfridges, and they're like, no, we've got enough people here.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's ridiculous. And I think I saw something the other day, which was somebody saying like, can I swear on this?
Yeah.
Okay. It was somebody saying like, part of the experience is getting treated like shit. And I don't think that shouldn't be a part of it. But so many of these things have happened, and so many people have shared their stories of, you know, oh God, I went in, I just turned around and came straight back out, because even though, you know, I have the money or I was interested in buying this today, nobody made me feel comfortable enough and all of this business, that it's just the parts of it have such a bad reputation.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to admit, having worked in like luxury department stores, when you obviously get your like base pay, but when your commission is such a significant part of what you are getting paid, we all do it. I have to admit, I've done it. It's like you see certain people come in and you're like, they think this is, what did my colleague used to call it? She used to call it, they think this is a museum. But they used to like walk in, look and touch everything, and just walk out. And like, so you start to learn.
You like profile people a bit.
You do, and it's really bad, but you do profile people. It's like, if I spend half an hour with you, is it possibly going to amount to something? Are you actually going to buy something? Are you actually aware of how expensive this stuff is before I take you into the changing room? Because I don't want you to get surprised when you're in there. You know? So, and then, it's bad, but it does happen a lot, especially when like your pay depends on it. And then you get people literally like falling over like Arab women's feet because they feel like they've come with cash, you know? It's really bad, but I think that single-handedly contributes to that level of service, that sort of thing.
And I think that it must be hard from that perspective of being like, okay, so you've obviously got the ones that walk in, you can tell there's money to spend, right, straight out the bat. You've got the ones who are a little bit more low-key, but you can also see
they've got an air.
Okay, potential here, exactly, right? Then you've got the like normal person, quote unquote, who walks in and you don't know if you know, they have been thinking about this thing and they want to have a look at it and really are taking the time to make this decision on what is going to be a big purchase, or the people that are just going to waste your time and just there to have a look and I want to see everything, I want to touch everything, and I'm going to leave and I'm going to have wasted your time. So I can understand that bit.
Like we had
how many working hours in the day and exactly get your commission.
We've had like a number of story times, and in the past it was like I used to work for a lingerie brand that was like quite expensive, and I spent all this time with this girl and she was looking for this like three-piece set for her new boo, and she then at the end of everything looked at the price tag and was like, oh, I thought it was like Victoria's Secret prices, and we were like, how dare you get out my store.
Oh man alive.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you, go follow us on Instagram, Style Over Substance Pod. Shoot us an email, starloversubstancepeak@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Twitter. We've got all the links on our Instagram. You know what to do.
I thought it'd be fun to ask you, what are like your biggest fashion faux pas? What are the things that you absolutely hate? Don't worry, no one's going to be offended because we chat shit all the time. It's okay. But
I'm sure like all my opinions are unpopular.
Oh, so. Yeah, definitely. What is those things that maybe it's like current trends that really irk you and you don't understand why people like it, or it's just things that like should never be worn together?
Okay. Straight at the first thing that came to mind, culottes.
Don't.
Really?
Stop right there.
I'm like, be a trouser, be a short. What are you doing hanging around in the middle? I'm sorry. I've said
Maybe it's, you know what it is? It's because I'm 5'2". So I think there's a height discrepancy here because culottes.
Yeah, I don't know if they would. I'm about like 5'8", and I think they'd be probably look like my trousers have shrunk on me.
Gosh.
But okay, yeah, fair enough.
Okay,
We said that you can say whatever you want. Fair enough.
Yep.
The other one, this is a very small one, but I hate it when people wear, like low top trainers or something, and they've not made the best choice in socks.
That's a good
Either
one.
I can see the sock and the look would have been better with a no-show situation, or like, why have you made socks a part of the outfit and these are the socks that you chose? So I think people are out here and they neglect their sock choice. The other one is like,
I love that.
And this, like,
I definitely did that the other day, by the way. I was like, this is a terrible combination. But I was like, I'm just popping to the shops. Like,
that's completely allowed.
I was like, but I was like, this is a bad choice.
Yeah.
Bad choice.
The other one is, and I think this is I see this more on like Gen Z and on TikTok and whatever, which is wearing a cropped top. But then the jean, like, okay, so you'll do a high-waisted jean, you'll do a crop top, but you haven't belted the jean. So it just doesn't look right to me for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the crop is too high, and it's like, I don't know what's going, like, you could have done with a slightly longer crop that just stopped, like, just above the jean.
Oh, I get what you mean.
Then it would, like, give something a little bit interesting. But I think that's just, they're young, they're getting their stomachs out, go for it, honestly. But, no, the other one, this is a sad one for me that's a big trend at the moment. Baggy jeans. Skinny jeans aren't technically in. And,
you know what? I saw this episode and I was raging because I don't... because I gave up skinny jeans years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like them. I don't think they're flattering on me. I like straight leg mum jeans. I know straight legs can be bless you. I know straight legs can be really ugly, but I like that ugly chic thing. So,
do you want to know what a big part of the jeans one is, though? Is your body shape. And like, I've got like...
Mim's really cool, for one. Like, she's really cool. And also, she's got like the body shape for it, you're right. So like... There we go.
I can't be out here in baggy jeans looking 3 sizes bigger than I am. Like, bumbling about. It is not going to work. I'm very much like, we need to suck it all in. And then this is how we make the look happen. So I'm very sad about skinny jeans.
I think it's harder to get jeans that fit well when they're not skinny as well. It's especially like on the height, like I don't know any woman who's got the same dimensions, whether a size 8, 10, 12, 14, like their dimensions aren't the same. So it's quite hard. I think they have to fit you well.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the jeans hunt is a difficult one. The jeans short hunt. They did that one.
Impossible.
You know what is really, what I think is even harder is denim skirts. I gave up on those. I don't wear those.
Same. I gave up.
I actually really like denim skirts. I think they're cute. It's a really great look.
Yes.
It's near impossible. If they fit you standing up, they don't fit you sitting down.
That is it. That is it. Oh God.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I just ordered a pair. It came and it said, oh, all the reviews were like true to size. I was like, brilliant. I'll get my usual size. It didn't get up past my knees. I had a complete mental breakdown over it.
Oh my God.
And then I honestly, those moments that happen and you're like, how have you done this? You told me that you were true to size. What are all these women lying about? And returned them. Ended up getting another pair that have you heard of these Goldie Parker shorts?
No.
It's a very specific short. And I've heard it mentioned for years. And I thought, sod it. Let me just get these shorts, see if everyone's talking about it is right. They look amazing. I'm not even going to lie.
Hey.
So I am not venturing out because I pulled out an old pair of denim shorts that I wore not last year, year before. And I was like, I'm sorry, but the crotch region is getting eaten into at different directions here. I don't understand how I'm meant to walk 5 steps and not cry.
Yeah. See, this is why I don't like skinny jeans, though. I think
I think hard jeans are worse to the crotch area.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that raw denim.
Yeah. Gets beaten up. Oh, I love it.
God.
I think denim shorts are really hard because also the older I get, the more I'm aware of I don't need shorts to be that, I wouldn't wear a skirt that short, so why am I wearing shorts that short? But when you wear long shorts, you look a bit lame, they're quite unflattering. So yeah, shorts are really impossible. But luckily the UK doesn't really ever get that hot, so there you go.
It's true.
Okay, cool. So I have a few sort of quick fire-ish sort of questions. What's the most worn item in your wardrobe? What do you go back to time and time again?
Do you know what? It probably is a pair of jeans. A pair of good American jeans. The amount of stretching, honestly.
Just been watching the Kardashians.
The arse looks good. Yeah, and it's comfy. All of that, brilliant. So yeah, probably jeans.
And what's your favourite item that you own?
Oh. Okay. It would have to go.
You can pick a few if it's impossible.
Well, I think it would have to go to the Birkin. Honestly,
yeah.
Because that was... I still actually don't quite believe that I have one. But yeah, it's insane. That whole process and all of that. So I've got to give it to that.
I know it's supposed to be quick fire, but I really want to ask about your... Because we kind of touched on service before. The whole hype about being in a queue, waiting your turn to get this Birkin, you may not get the one that you want specifically, and that kind of the topic around elitism and getting Hermes bags. What's your your quick fire view on it?
Oh, it does have to be quick fire.
Yeah. Okay.
So right. So my experience was actually probably the best way I could have gotten it, which was we went in August, started talking to a really nice sales associate, blah, 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 and got talking about the bags. And he said, to be honest, the one I went to was the Sloane Street one. And he said, to be honest, here we, we are prioritize the people that haven't got one yet, right? And he said this, and to be very honest with you, I didn't really believe him. And I was like, I'm sure he's just saying it because I clearly don't have one and whatever. So he said, anyway, we can open up a wish list for you. You will go through all of the leathers and all of the colours and tell me which ones are your favourite and whatever. So we did that, and it was in their database. And I, from then on, I think I bought one wallet. And then I didn't buy anything else at that point. Before that, my mum bought a blanket, but that wasn't even on my account or anything. And then I got an email. I was sat on my sofa as though, boring day. I was still at work, in my old job, whatever. Checked my email, and it was dear Cassandra, whatever. A Birkin that has come in that has met your wish list requirements. It will be on hold for you until Sunday. This is the colour, this is the size, this is the price. Let me know if you're interested. I have never moved so fast in my life. I was like, there is no...
I love that there's a time limit.
Literally.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And you might not even be in the country, but...
Yeah, I know.
And I was, it was like, this is not a question of if I'm interested in it or not. This is a question of how fast am I getting to the store here. So I had a really good experience in that way, which was, I said I was interested in this. It came in, maybe I was the first person, maybe I was whatever, maybe there had been more before me, but they kind of honoured that. Now, I know that a lot of people, when I did start my wish list, people are, oh, they all tell you to start wish list and then they never contact you again and all this. So I'm really happy with my experience, but I know it varies so much. And when my mum got her Birkin, we were in Hawaii, and that also was a really good experience. That one was literally, same day we came in, mum was looking at a pair of shoes. He was like, oh, is there anything else that you'd be interested in? And I was like, oh, by any chance, do you have any Birkins? And he said, what are you after? So I was like, oh, blues, blacks, like reeling off what I knew were my mum's, like whatever she would want. And he said, okay, well, I don't have anything in for you today, but if you come in tomorrow, I'll have something to show you. And it was like, again,
How much stock are they like having in Hawaii?
Honestly, apparently it's like one of the easiest places to get one. We didn't know this at the time, but I'm not complaining. So, so we've had really positive experiences, but there are people who've been waiting for years. And I guess also it depends on the color you want. Did it come out that year? Do they, have they even got stock of that color, or does it come in once every 5? All that business. And then also just like, if they're going to hold up their end of the bargain and be true, if one comes in that meets your requirements, and they're not just going to give it to this woman that spends 300,000 a year with you, So it's all over the place.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, that makes me happy to hear. Like, I think that's like a really important element of luxuries we touched on.
There's so much like mystery, and half the time people won't even tell you the price. So you're like, oh my gosh, I want this bag, but I don't even know if
don't know what to save for.
Exactly, you have no idea. So because it's just this like, oh, it's this elusive, and this, they've done a good job of the marketing.
I was going to say they've played the game pretty well. Because
Yeah.
people are literally like, it kind of became like a cultural discussion about, like, especially in like hip hop kind of world, buying your girlfriend a Birkin and if she deserves it, and you shouldn't be buying a Birkin because it's a waste of money. And it's become like, I don't know, larger than life. Like, more people are talking about Birkins than will ever be able to afford one. And it's like, why are you so bothered about,
Yeah. And then the resale is a completely separate like discussion. So my bag, when I got it and everything, I looked online and it was literally going for double that, brand new. And it's just like, and I think a lot of, like celebrities and everything else, they're not going to play this game and risk waiting or whatever. They want exactly what they want, and they want it now. And they're going to pay 24,000 for it when it's a £7,000 bag. It's crazy.
And also, I guess when you've got money and it's a symbol of status, like you want to fast forward, like taking that to brunch with your girlfriends because, like.
Yeah,
like that's definitely the vibe in those circles. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I think people often underestimate the fashion game, and like, I mean, people have definitely belittled me when I've like studied fashion and stuff. But like, it's like one of the most like highly, I don't know, it's one of the biggest economies in the world in terms of business, but also like these are investments. Like, people do stocks and shares and bonds and whatever, but I'm telling you, like, for sure, Hermes and Chanel, like that's a hot investment.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah,
fashion's cool, man.
Have any other quick fire questions?
I was gonna say, do you regret any of your luxury purchases?
Yes. So there was one, this is like the most recent one, which I actually ended up selling for a fraction of what I paid for. It was a Versace like denim jacket, and it was cropped.
Ooh.
And the thing is that I should have known, because I bought it in the sale and I was like, oh my gosh, it's fabulous and amazing, and there's so much crystals and all of this business. And when I ordered it, I actually returned it and got a bigger size because I wanted it to be more like oversized. And where it was hitting me cropped wasn't necessarily where I would have wanted it to be. But me being stupid and like being too obsessed with this jacket was like, oh, it'll be fine, you know, whatever. I'll have it in this new size that I got it in and all of that business. And then the longer I had it, the more I was just like, I don't even like, I hate where it came on my body. So I was just like, this is just taking up space, and I don't even feel comfortable wearing it because it doesn't fit me how I want it to.
It doesn't make you feel good.
Exactly. And it's not something that's an easy fix, like, oh, it's like trousers that are a bit long, I'll get them tailored kind of thing. It was just like, no, the entire vibe of the jacket is just not working. So that was had to get rid. So it's gone to a new home, and hopefully they love it.
Amazing.
Cool. Got anything
Do you
else
have any more?
No, I don't really. Yeah, I don't have any other questions, but thank you so much for agreeing to be on our podcast. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah.
I'm now like want to buy something, so.
I have that effect.
But yeah, and also like your YouTube is really enjoyable, and your boyfriend's definitely right. Your personality comes across for sure.
Well, we hope that you liked our episode with Cassie. Honestly, it was such a good vibe, such fun, and a real laugh chatting with her. So thanks to her again for agreeing to sit down with us and talk about the frivolities of fashion and luxury goods. As always, follow us on Instagram, send us an email with any topic suggestions or people that you would also like us to interview, because we're getting into the swing of this. We're putting out guest content all the time.
We're going for it, yeah.
Yes. So give us a shout. We'll always reply. And we hope you like this one. So see you next week, guys.